Born on September 20, 1853, in the Grand Palace of Bangkok, Chulalongkorn, later known as King Rama V, emerged into a world where the Kingdom of Siam stood precariously between tradition and encroaching European imperialism, a world his reign would redefine. The favored son of King Mongkut, Rama IV, and Queen Debsarindra, young Chulalongkorn was raised in a highly intellectual environment. His father, a forward-thinking monarch, ensured he received a modern education alongside traditional Buddhist teachings. Schooled by both Siamese monks and Western tutors, including the famous English governess Anna Leon Owens, his early life was marked by a deep exposure to Enlightenment thought, Christianity, liberalism, and scientific rationalism. When his father died in 1868, the throne passed to the 15-year-old Chulalongkorn, though due to his youth, a regency was established with Somdet Kayafraya Sri Surawongse acting as regent until he came of age. During these formative years, Chulalongkorn undertook travels to Singapore, Java, India, and later Europe, absorbing firsthand the mechanisms of colonial rule and the trappings of Western modernity. His experiences abroad crystallized his belief that Siam could maintain sovereignty only through internal reform and strategic diplomacy. Officially assuming power in 1873, he immediately embarked on a transformative reign that spanned 42 years, becoming one of the most revered monarchs in Thai history and earning the epithet Phra Chao Wong, the Great Buddha King, for his divine-like status among his people. His early reforms were aimed at dismantling feudalism and consolidating royal power. He abolished the traditional practice of prostration before royalty, restructured the judicial system, introduced new penal codes based on Western models, and began dismantling the corvée labor system by initiating a modern civil service. Fiercely opposed by conservative nobility, these reforms were often met with resistance, but Rama V's unmatched charisma, patience, and moral authority allowed him to maintain popular and military support. His boldest move was the gradual abolition of slavery, a process that took over 3 decades to complete without civil unrest, carefully balancing compensation for nobles with emancipation for the enslaved. In the 1890s, as France and Britain encroached on Siam's borders, Rama V skillfully navigated crises such as the Franco-Siamese War of 1893, which resulted in territorial losses but not colonial submission. Through deft diplomacy, he played the imperial powers against each other, signing unequal but strategically beneficial treaties that bought time for reform. Domestically, he centralized governance by creating a cabinet system, establishing 12 ministries, and sending royal princes to Europe for education to modernize administration. He invested heavily in infrastructure, railways, telegraphs, postal services, and modern hospitals, turning Bangkok into a bustling modern capital and improving connectivity across the realm. He also introduced compulsory primary education and founded the first universities, promoting meritocracy over aristocratic privilege. His reign marked a golden age for the arts and literature, and he fostered national identity by strengthening the monarchy's cultural symbolism, including the use of the name Thailand and the adoption of the national anthem. Despite personal tragedies, including the loss of beloved wives and children to illness, Rama V remained a compassionate ruler devoted to the welfare of his subjects. Known for disguising himself and visiting villages incognito, he listened to grievances firsthand, earning immense affection. In his later years, the strain of leadership and sorrow over Siam's concessions to foreign powers took a toll on his health. Yet, even then, he continued reforming the army and navy, building the foundations of a modern defense force. By the early 20th century, Rama V had secured Siam's status as the only Southeast Asian nation to avoid colonization, a legacy that earned him eternal gratitude. He was succeeded by his son Vajirabhud, Rama VI, who inherited a relatively stable, centralized, and modernizing kingdom. On October 23, 1910, King Rama V passed away peacefully in Dusit Palace at the age of 57, prompting nationwide mourning. The date became a national holiday in Thailand, Chulalongkorn Day, celebrated annually to honor his memory and achievements. Even a century later, his statues are adorned with fresh garlands, and his legacy remains deeply embedded in Thai identity, symbolizing enlightened monarchy, unity, and resistance to imperial domination. His life's journey, from the son of a reformist king to the sovereign who modernized Siam while preserving its soul, represents one of the most remarkable transformations in modern Asian history, a tale of vision, resilience, and deep devotion to a people who continue to revere him as the great beloved king.